Thanks for your company. The details now. Directors of Gmantambu Community Radio Station in the northern region town of Bimbilla are accusing the NCA of going beyond its powers and shutting them down. A letter signed by the NCA's Director General JoyNews says the station's broadcasting authorization was suspended because of national security and public interest. Management, however, believes the station's refusal to comply with the authority's directive to reconstitute its board was what led to the closure. The NCA's directive followed a petition by 3 members of the Nanumba North District Assembly for the authority to investigate the station's ownership and management because they believed it was affiliated to the NDC. There's more in the following report.
Gmantambu Radio was established in 2012. The area has been noted for some disturbances, and that was the main reason we realized that one of the triggers of insecurity was either lack of information or misinformation.
That's board member of Gmantambu Radio, Mohammed Ibn Abbas, stated why the station was set up. In 2017, 3 members of the Nanumba North District Assembly petitioned the NCA to investigate the station's ownership and management they perceived to be NDC. The NCA responded in a letter asking managers of the station to reconstitute the board. The NCA responded in a letter asking managers of the station to reconstitute the board. They complied, keeping the existing members and adding 4 others, including members of the assembly. According to Mr. Ibn Abbas, the NCA was satisfied, but the petitioners weren't. They sent another petition saying they had not been consulted. Mr. Ibn Abbas again.
In terms of the ethnic composition of the area, we ensured that it was balanced. We also ensured that we brought in other persons who would not be seen to be NDC members. But in spite of this, the petitioners were not satisfied. Then we got a letter from the NCA requesting that we should put the 2 of the petitioners on the board. When we got that letter, we thought it was too much. It was a handshake beyond the elbow. So we went to Parliament to meet with the Parliamentary Committee on Communications to complain to them that it appeared there was some interference with the governance of the station.
Problem. Mr. Ibn Abbas admits some of the station's board members are sympathizers of the opposition NDC, but says that should not be a problem.
We are talking now because of the wider conversation. I think that what is happening fits into a pattern. I was the former municipal chief executive, then were district of Nanumba North, and facilitated the establishment of the radio station under the tenure of Professor Ivan Satamios.
The 4 board members are perceived to be pro-NDC.
What is there anything wrong with it? That is the question. Is it wrong? Is there any regulation of the NCA that says that for Joy FM to establish, you must have persons from political parties?
But this is a community
or for a community station to be established, members of the board should not be governed by the company's code, but it should be on partisan basis. If the petitioners had complained of access, if they had complained that the programming is biased, what we are saying, I'll take it on board. But they are complaining about individuals whose participation in the board has nothing to do, or very little, to do with the day-to-day running of the station.
After the two sides failed to reach an agreement, the Municipal Security Council closed down the station. Lawyers of the station wrote to MUSEC and managers reopened the station after not receiving a response for a month. The NCA finally shut down the station in March, citing national security issues. Well, MCE for Nanumba North, Abdullah Yakubu, says the board was not properly reconstituted after the NCA's first directive.
NCA directed that the board should be reconstituted based on its guidelines. They just added numbers, and the NCA said no. They made a suggestion. The manager said that no, they were not also in agreement. So we called them to a meeting to explain what the letter of the NCA said. During that process, we closed the meeting because there was still no understanding. The petitioners had an entrenched position, the same as the managers. I wrote officially to NCA to come in and resolve the matter. So they went downstairs, they fought physically. And, you know, we are already having a security challenge in the municipality, where we have chieftains and all kinds of things. So there was threats that the radio station was coming to be attacked. So we held an emergency MUSEC meeting and temporarily closed down the radio station and referred the matter to NCA to come in. So that week, NCA invited my good self, the petitioners, and the managers of the radio station. They came down, the deputy CEO and some of their legal team members came to Tamale and met all of it, including the local peace mediation team members. And we all agreed that once it's a community radio station, we should come back and then resolve the issue by forming the board in accordance with their guidelines. But NCA told us that we should wait. They will write to us giving us certain directives. So I left for Accra on the 18th. We had a meeting in Accra. I was there when my coordination director called that he had received a letter from indicating that we did not have the right to close down the radio station. And so they were giving us 2 days to open the radio station, or they will take legal action against us. On a Friday, we were there when we heard Gmantambu radio was on air. So we went there. They will send the police to find out why the radio station is on air, defying the orders of MUSEC. The manager said that no, he is not prepared to speak to the police or any member unless he speaks to his lawyer. So we came back and then referred the matter to NCA that this is what is happening. And NCA then wrote a letter directing the area manager in Tamale to come and close down the radio station.
When the NCA's Director of Consumer and Corporate Affairs, Nana Dufie-Bedu, was contacted for a response on this story, she said the authority was not responding to any inquiries on shutdown of radio stations. She further stated updates on all shutdown radio stations would be published on the NCA's website. Meanwhile, Parliament will later today, the Communications Committee of Parliament has summoned the NCA to Parliament to respond on shutdown radio stations. We'll bring you details of that meeting.